Welcome to day one of this 5-day challenge / mini course about mindfulness. I'm super happy that you're here. Very grateful you've decided to sign up because this is one of my favorite topics. This is a topic that I love talking about. I love practicing. I do mindfulness almost every day as part of a varied and healthy diet for your mind. And so what we're going to do is I have a little presentation, thing I want to go over. So I have my notes behind. And I want to talk to you about what are the 5 days going to entail, what can you learn through mindfulness, and how can it benefit you? Because you probably heard about this word, mindfulness or meditation, and you probably even know quite a lot about it, even though you haven't specifically studied it. But in these 5 days, I want to teach you 5 different ways to do mindfulness and also 5 different benefits, for example, and just how you can take your life to the next level. Because basically, these 5 days are going to be about understanding how to manage your stress levels, being more present on a daily basis, learning different mindfulness and meditation techniques, and all that you can benefit from this, as well as understanding how you can create your motivation and focus through mindfulness. So, what does that mean? That means that if you're someone that wants to basically feel better on a daily basis, not be so anxious or worried, then this is for you. If you want to be able to focus better, if you want to get your work done more effectively, and if you want to not be so distracted, then mindfulness can really help. Because our brain is designed to make us survive. Our brain is over a million years old, and back in the caveman days, the brain had the same job, which was to make us survive. Except back in the day, there were also saber-toothed tigers trying to kill us. And the difference between saber-toothed tigers and life nowadays is quite different, but our brain can't recognize the difference between a social media dislike and a saber-toothed tiger, unfortunately. How does that even make sense? Well, it comes down to the basic human fears. Basic human fears are things such as not being loved or not feeling enough. Those are 2 very basic human fears. Everything can be broken down into those. And when it was back in the day of being chased by a saber-toothed tiger, you needed to stick together in a group, in a pack. Otherwise you died. Simple, right? Because you can't fight a saber-toothed tiger alone or any other dangerous animal. You needed to be in the pack. And so how that translates to today is that any conflict or anything that makes us feel like we're in danger of not feeling accepted by our tribe, which is like not feeling loved, then that makes us very anxious and can make us not feel confident. And so when somebody says something mean to you or puts a bad comment on social media, it makes our brain think, oh shit, is this something that is going to exclude me from my tribe? Obviously it's not, unless you let it affect you. But our brain, the back part of our brain, the old parts, the amygdala, and some other parts of our brain say, my God, I need to deal with this. And it makes you stressed, puts you in fight or flight mode in case you need to do something, you need to react quickly. And it just increases your stress level. And if you know anything about stress, it's that it's one of the biggest factors that creates diseases and that kills us faster. Because stress in unhealthy amounts reduces the length of our telomeres, which is the part of our DNA which is the most studied to show our length of life. And so increased stress reduces the length of our telomeres faster, and so doesn't let us live as long. So that's on the extreme side, of course, but on a day-to-day basis, reducing stress can be very helpful because then you're not reacting to everything that you're encountering. If you can reduce your stress, you can be more present with people, and you can actually think more clearly. You can be more motivated, you can be more focused. You can do what you actually want to do instead of just reacting to whatever is coming into your vision. Mindfulness is basically sitting there, well, not necessarily sitting even, just paying attention without judgment in the present moment. That's the basic definition. What's important is in the present moment, non-judgmentally, and paying attention. And when was the last time you paid attention to the present moment instead of thinking about what worried you in the past and what you're anxious about in the future? These are very different sensations. So, today we're going to talk about just the basics of mindfulness and what it really means. I've already gave you a brief description, but we're also going to practice it. And on day 2, we're going to talk about mindfulness around our different senses and how that's an ultimate superpower, because we have at least 5 different senses, sometimes 6, people say, and we're not really aware of them always unless we really pay attention in the moment. And it's only in the moment that you can pay attention to the touch, the smell, the taste, the view, your eyes, and what you're hearing. So that's why it's very powerful to be able to pay attention to these in the present moment, as it's a really good tool to bring you into the present moment and be mindful. Then on day 3, it's going to be about designing your thought patterns, because anything that you do on a repeated basis can become a habit and strengthens the neural pathways of making that more consistent. So basically, what mindfulness helps with is how, if you are able to recognize what thoughts you have, then you can know if you want to react, well, actually how you want to react, instead of just acting from fear or from a self-defense mechanism. And the more you do that, the more the neurons who help you to take a step back and act in the way that you desire become strengthened. And the more you do that, the stronger they become. Like any habit that you're forming. It's not only in your brain, it's also in your muscle memory. Like, your neurons are everywhere. And so being able to design your thoughts is super powerful. And that's day 3. Then on day 4, it's going to be about mastering your breath and unlocking your brain's full potential. Because our breath is also something that you can use to bring yourself back to the present moment. And it has a lot more benefits besides helping you be mindful, which we'll talk about. And then on day 5, we have a very special meditation that won't be guided by me, but it's by one of my favorite meditations that incorporates gratitude and goal setting. I don't know what that was, but the reason that those 2 things are so super powerful is because the same reason as being able to change your thoughts, what you focus on continuously becomes strengthened in your mind. And the more you focus on something, the more your brain notices opportunities that are aligned with that goal. For example, one goal I recently accomplished, getting a girlfriend, something that had been on my mind for a long time, and I was even thinking about it and writing it down more often in the recently. And so my brain was thinking about, how can I get a girlfriend? Basically trying to answer that question, because I was focusing on it so much. Because the more you put your focus on something, the more you put your attention to something, the more your brain understands, oh, this must be important, right? So by telling your brain that this goal is important to you, then you make it think subconsciously, how can you get that goal? The more you repeat something, the more it becomes anchored in your mind. And just a short demonstration of why it's important. Have you ever been in a restaurant and somebody says your name out of the blue, some random person, maybe they're not even talking to you, but you hear your name. Out of all the busyness and all the noise, your name pops out. Why? Your brain could have noticed anything else, and it might have noticed something that was also important to you, but the reason that your name sticks out from all the noise is because it's the most important thing to you. It's that your name is the thing that you've heard the most in your whole life. And so, because you've repeated it yourself, your mom, your parents, everybody around you has repeated your name to you so much that your brain's like, that must be super important because it's been repeated so much, and it's just anchored in your brain. That's it. So, because it thinks it's so important, it's going to pick it out between everything. between all the noise. Your name is always going to stand out. And what if you could do that for your goals? Wouldn't that be crazy? Because then you could hear in a busy restaurant or in between noise of social media opportunities related to your goals. So that's why that's important. And those are the 5 days that we're going to talk about. And I hope you're excited, just as excited as I am. So that was a long introduction. These videos are just going to be about 30 minutes long. I don't know why I did 30 minutes long. And before I get started into the first meditation, I just want to do a little disclaimer that the next 4 videos I recorded live on Zoom as a mini training. So they're not going to be as high quality as this one, because this one I'm recording with a different camera. And yeah, just to give you a little heads up about the camera quality and the quality in general. But still, the next few days are still going to be very important because they're more exercise focused, whereas today is a general introduction and understanding what mindfulness is. Is that clear? Hope you're as excited as I am to jump into this 5 days of mindfulness. Of course, you can go through them as fast or as slowly as possible. I mean, as you want. But I've made it only 5 days because these are the 5 most important parts of mindfulness that I think you could use. And of course, like I've said before, the more you do something, the more your brain's going to implement it and the easier it's going to become. So even after these 5 days, I would highly recommend that you continue with mindfulness. This is just an introduction, so you can get a spectrum of different mindfulness practices so that you can choose which one you like best. And of course, if you need help building that habit and having someone keep you accountable, then I'm here for you as well. Just message me on any social media platform at Oscar Woehr, Woehr, and I'll be happy to work with you. Because that's also part of my job, or part of what I do. I love helping people stay on track with their goals and helping you create those habits that are super powerful so that you can build momentum and go even faster in your life. So, for the first meditation, please have a seat if you're not already sitting. A comfortable position, maybe scooch around a little bit, have your feet flat on the ground. You can even lie down if you really want to, but sitting is the best. And I'd urge you to simply lay your hands flat on your knees or in your lap and close your eyes when you're ready. And we're simply going to pay attention to our breath today. Simply seeing what it's like. You don't need to breathe in deeply or shallowly. Just pay attention to your breath. Where do you feel it the most? Do you feel it in your nostrils, in the back of your throat, or in your lungs? Simply putting your attention to your breath. Then maybe taking a few deep breaths. And breathing out. Breathing in. And breathing out. We'll do a couple more. Breathing in. And breathe out. One more time, breathing in. And breathing out. Now returning your breath back to normal, but still paying attention to it wherever it is in your body. And now I want to show you one more little exercise and why breathing is pretty powerful. Now we'll go deeper into breath on day 4, but for now, I want to tell you about the differences in how it affects the nervous system. Because when you breathe in, this creates excitement for the nervous system, the sympathetic nervous system. And that's what it activates. And then when you breathe out, you're activating the parasympathetic nervous system, which helps to calm your body and reduce stress. So I simply want you to count to 10, counting 1 with every breath. Counting 1, breathing in, and 2 while breathing out. Then you count 3 while breathing in, and you keep going like that until you reach 10. I'll let you do it by yourself for a little while. When you reach 10, simply restart at 1 again. It's okay if you get distracted, just bring your attention back to the breath. And taking your last breath, and then coming back, putting your attention back onto your body, feeling your hands and feet, maybe wiggling them a little bit. And then when you're ready, you can open your eyes. And you can even stretch a little bit if you want. That's a very straightforward intro to mindfulness and the most basic of guided meditations, you could say. Just focusing on the breath, which is very powerful. And you might have gotten distracted, which is super fine. But I'd love for you to ask yourself, how do you feel right now? Are you still a bit stressed, or do you feel a lot more relaxed? And whatever you're feeling is okay. Just would encourage you to simply check in with yourself. How do you feel in your body, in your stomach, in your chest, or in your shoulders? Sometimes that's usually where we can hold stress. And you can think of mindfulness and building a meditation habit as going to the gym. The reason that we want to build a meditation habit, first of all, is because of the benefits I listed before, such as being able to get calmer on demand, being able to not react and actually plan better, not be controlled by your emotions. Have you ever been in a high stress situation where you need to make a decision quickly and you just couldn't think? You're like, oh, it must be this solution. But what if you took a step back, you're able to think, and then a platitude of solutions came to your mind? What being mindful does is help you to calm your mind, because what stress does is is basically create blinders so that you can focus and to go where you need to go just to survive, right? Because that was the fight or flight response that we needed back in the day, in the caveman days. And oftentimes when you're in a high stress situation now, or what could even seem like a high stress situation but isn't, is that stress makes you focus. And it can be good. Sometimes you need to focus, especially like when you're doing high sports, or you need to get something done quickly. That's great. But when you're on your day-to-day job and you just get a negative comment from a colleague, and then you freak out, you can't even work anymore because you're like, what is this? Bad feedback. I don't know how to deal with it, and you get all clenched up, and your brain just doesn't work anymore. So being able to be mindful helps you to just calm your body, think more rationally, and be more empathetic, be more loving, not only to others, but to yourself as well. So you can really take in information and process it more rationally, and then go forward with how you want to go instead of just reacting to others. Okay? And so forming this meditation habit or this mindfulness habit, strengthening the neurons between that create this habit of being calm or non-reactive, takes time. And it's like going to the gym. You don't go to the gym just once, do a push-up, and expect yourself to be super buff, right? No. You go to the gym multiple times, week after week, increasing slowly, and then spacing out the repetitions so you can build them over time. Build your muscles over time. Same thing with meditation, same thing with anything that you want to create a habit out of. It takes repetition, it takes time, and the difficult thing about meditation is that, yes, you can feel calmer afterwards, but not always. So you need to be aware that even though sometimes you don't feel like you even benefited from the meditation, trust me, you are. When you're bringing your attention back from being distracted to your mind during a meditation, like when it floats away and then you bring it back to your breath, you can think of that as a mental push-up. That's one push-up. The more you bring your thoughts back to your present moment, to where you're paying attention, the more mindful you're becoming. Okay? And some days it'll be more difficult than others. Some days you might have had coffee. Sometimes I drink coffee right before meditation and my brain just goes, woo! And it's more difficult for sure. But that's okay. It happens. Sometimes I want to increase the difficulty level like that. That can be a challenge. And sometimes even when I drink coffee, I feel like I'm tripping when I'm meditating because my brain is just like spinning so much. So it can be hard on coffee. I wouldn't recommend. You can do meditation either in the morning or in the evening, whatever works best for you. And remember, consistency is key. So that's why attending all 5 days is very important, because this will give you an array of different techniques and importance in different scenarios. Can you commit 5 days to showing up for 30 minutes each day? Or are you too busy to not prioritize your mental health and live longer, ultimately, by practicing meditation? If you're committed to make this change, to show up for 5 days, 30 minutes each day, write committed down in the comments. This is for those people. This is for the people that really want to manage their stress, motivation, and focus to create the life that you want. Okay? You have the momentum right now. You've done day 1. Congratulations. You did it. And I'm sure day 2 you're probably going to be looking forward to day 2 already. And then it'll be like this. People will drop out a little bit more day 3 and day 4. And then those who have stuck through the whole time will continue on day 5. Because sometimes maybe you won't like any of the 4 first meditations. And then on day 5, when I have the mind-blowing meditation that isn't guided by me, those people will have missed out. So commit. Decide right now, put it in your calendar. When do you want to show up for 30 minutes each day? Block it out. If it's in your calendar, it's going to happen more likely. I write everything that I want to get done in my calendar, so that way I see it every morning when I check my calendar. I'll be like, okay, I have this to do. And these are the meetings or these are the appointments. Even if you don't have anybody else you're doing it with, put it in your calendar as a meeting with yourself. Are you committed to living longer, living healthier, living more happily? If you're here, I assume you are. So put it in your calendar and let's go through each of these 5 days. Not everybody will make it, and that's totally fine. And if you need help, you can always send me a message. But I hope you enjoyed day 1 so far, and I'll see you in the next 5 days. Remember, they're each different, they each have something to offer. And I'm looking forward to a lot to seeing how this develops. Because this is my first 5-day challenge, and I'm super excited to do it with you. Remember, the next ones were recorded live on Zoom, so I might be wearing something different or be more hyped, but nevertheless, the quality is insane. I'm super excited to do this with you. Anyway, take care, enough blabbering. I'll see you on day 2. See you tomorrow. Ciao.